Okay, playing first snow. This is unedited part 3, overall part 7, I believe. We left off at the painter. I just saw this, which shows you how many you have left. So that's fun. I got that many left. Woo. Then there's a gallery, guest art. I really like that. That's adorable. Just found these. And you can change the music. I like, I like Warm-Hearted World. Anyway, getting to the game. With the gun... What? With the sun beginning to set, Eileen and I say our goodbyes to Capricia before heading out into the hallway. Calming Capricia down after she gets a bright idea feels like trying to stifle a shaken soda can after opening it. She might still be brimming with energy, but the two of us leave the art club's room utterly deflated. We should have just joined the normal art club, you know? The one which isn't led by a maniac. I wish I could get the two of them to see eye to eye more often. Capricia did say she's doing all this for Eileen's sake as much as her own, and she's far too straightforward to be lying about that. It's difficult to push Eileen. It's difficult to push back on Eileen, though, given how prideful a person she is. I seem to attract strong-willed friends. She is a lot. She means well, though. Well, maybe it's not so bad if you're around to keep her occupied. For what it's worth, I was actually thinking this might be a fun little adventure. I wanted to thank you for making all of this work out. She makes an exquisitely awkward face, caught between my thanking her and the idea of having to share a room with us. And anyone else Capricia manages to rope in from now on. I just smile as we start down a quiet hallway, Eileen taking a look out the window. Her gaze lingers for just that little longer than usual. The snow once again having started falling outside. I can't blame her, given how pretty it looks. Damn, going to be shoveling snow again. What a pain. She really isn't the sentimental type.
Huh?
Did I say something wrong? I was just thinking, you don't seem to have a very romantic view of the world, being an artist. Is there much good about winter? Being back with family, all the pretty snow around, people in cute jackets and coats, holidays. I end up trailing off, Eileen hardly looking swayed as I count my favorite things about the season on my fingers. Holidays are a problem. Everywhere is starting to close up or shut down for the new year already. I want to keep practicing instead of loafing around, but the life drawing classes are over and all of the students' modeling offers have dried up. I have seen notices for those on the notice boards around campus, with students and others making a little cash on the side by modeling for artists. those same notice boards, you have become much more bare over the last months. What? Those same notice boards have... Oh, okay. I feel sorry for her, given she takes her painting so seriously. I was so caught up in wanting to be back with my family that I didn't think about how it would be for her, especially when she doesn't get along with hers. As we walk along the hallway, I realize this might present an opportunity, a chance for me to help Eileen and be part of her painting, instead of simply watching her from afar. I'm not completely sure about this, but my obvious scheming has already caught Eileen's eye. If it'd be helpful, maybe I could do it. At this, Eileen stops and turns to me. Should I not have suggested this? You just need me to stand around and be a model, right? There's not a lot to it. This would be live modeling, you know. I don't want to give you the wrong idea. Reminder, it doesn't make me hesitate. I know there's nothing sexual about it, but I'd be standing without clothes on, as she alone looked at me, analyzing my whole body. I don't know about that, bro. I would, might want to retract it on that. Hold up. Okay. Eileen herself doesn't look fussed, though she rarely does. She seems content to let me come to a conclusion myself as she stands about, but my body language soon gives away of what I'm thinking. Sorry if I made you uncomfortable. I can just work on other studies instead. No, she did mention herself that she's done this before. It'd simply be another method of practicing painting for her. Would it be in your apartment or something?
Yeah?
I swear, bro. She looks mildly surprised I'm still considering this. If it was anyone else, I don't think I could do this. For Eileen, though.
Okay.
It's fine, I'll do it. We set down our coats as we enter her apartment, the bright light giving such a different look to her living room compared to mine. As for Eileen herself, I don't get how she isn't exhausted at all after a walk like that from school. But try as I might to distract myself, something feels off, no matter how I try to ignore it. Painting live models is probably totally normal for an artist like Eileen, so I don't bother saying anything as she sets down her coat. Want a drink or something? I'm fine, thanks.
Sure.
Sit yourself. I'll grab my stuff, just make yourself comfortable. She walks off to get her easel and paints as I nod. Without much else to do, as she disappears into another room, I idly look around while taking my coat off and gloves. Taking off my coat and gloves. Her apartment hasn't been cleaned up this time, which is an interesting change. Beyond the easel with a finished painting still sitting on it, a few colorful fashion magazines lie on the coffee table, near a mug left sitting around. On the couch, a couple of crumpled t-shirts and an old pair of jeans lie strewn over the back and arm. What catches my eye most, however, is the resin who looks very comfortable on the other end of it. That's the first thing I noticed. Without thinking, I walk over and pick him up. particularly large stuffed rabbit, big enough to need two hands to hold comfortably. Though well made and adorably designed, it's obviously a little well loved by now. I'm sure I'd have noticed such a thing if it were around when Wallace and I came for dinner. So it must have been stuffed in her bedroom or something. Noticing movement out of the corner of my eye, I turn up and look up. Eileen simply stares at me, face flat as she holds a bag of supplies in her hand. I really shouldn't have just gone and started fiddling with her stuff.
Sorry.
It's really cute. She puts her bag down in size, giving me a bit of relief that she isn't angry. Silently, she strides over and takes the toy from me as I offer it to her. My sister gave it to me to keep me company when I moved out. I'm disappointed by how little emotions in Eileen's voice when she says so, but those thoughts quickly disappear as she gently sets down the rabbit where it had been. She takes care to set it down gently with a quick brush of its fur. That momentary smile as she steps back and looks at it warms my heart. It only lasts for a few seconds, but her face is unmistakably that of a child, one taking care of their favorite companion. So Eileen does have a cute side to her. I somehow feel a bit less wound up about everything now. She's not that different to me in the end. As she turns away, I remember the task at hand. I'll just set up the zone canvas, then I'll have everything ready.
Should I take my clothes off, then?
Oh, come on. This is like the worst part. You could have somebody else talk. Oh my god. Dude. Oh. Pick it. Pick one, dude. Seriously. She's about to answer before pausing for a moment. Much as I might try to stifle my awkwardness, undressing in front of someone else is still weird.
If it's a problem, you can grab a towel. I can make do.
Feeling more than a little sheepish, I glance around to be more sure of my surroundings. The blinds are shut as they were before, and the door's still locked, so I'm not sure what I expected. Maybe the silence is putting me off, the apartment being set so far back the road, unlike mine. I want to say that I'm fine, but I can't quite get over the stumbling block of being bared in front of someone. Meeting halfway will have to do for now. As Eileen sets her previous painting on the kitchen counter, I pop into the bathroom. My heart practically in my mouth as I reappear in the room with a towel wrapped around me. The precious little being covered as I take my place before her.
Should I stand like this, or...?
She looks at me for a few moments in serious thought. It's a little interesting how quickly her demeanor changes to that of a painter carefully considering how best to use my body as an artistic prop.
Try turning around so your back's towards me.
My thoughts are in a haze, unable to let go of how exposed I am. All I can do is nod and dutifully that word, do as she says.
Yeah, that's good. Keep your head like that and maybe let your arms hang down. Like this? Yeah, just stay like that.
I give a nod, trying to relax as much as I can. That isn't saying much, though. There's no other sound in the room as she starts sketching me out. Pencil sharp, scratching, filling the air. It's certainly an odd experience to think somebody is looking at my body so analytically, taking in every detail, considering it, and copying it to a canvas. For Eileen's sake, I try to keep as still as possible despite the butterflies in my stomach. Her pencil work apparently finished. The gentle sound of brush strokes starts as her painting begins in earnest. She's fast at her sketching. I suppose she'd have a good bit of practice at this. I can't see much at all with my head slightly down like this, but at least this position is easy to keep. Without anything in particular to focus my eyes on, I can't help but turn my thoughts inward. How do people do this without getting self-conscious? Nobody's ever looked at my naked body like this, carefully analyzing every curve and muscle. I wonder how I look to her right now. Am I gross? Compared to Eileen, I probably look plain at best.
Hey, I know it's not easy, but can you try not to tense up so much?
I glance back at Eileen. Our eyes meet and I force myself to face forward again, resuming my pose. Sorry.
It's okay. Not too much longer.
Her expression was so focused and analytical. I sometimes forget that serious artwork can take so much knowledge and logic as well as creativity. I really am just an art prop for her. That's good. If I remember that, this isn't so bad. Eileen's done this plenty of times, and I can trust her. I was the one who offered anyway. Don't ease up too much. The towel's gonna fall off, I swear. The reason I did this was to help her, and now I can finally be a part of her true passion of painting. I feel the corners of my mouth tug a little at the idea. It makes me feel a little special that she's looking at me this way. While she's no doubt done life drawing before, this is something different. Only now do I realize that Eileen's brushstrokes have ceased. Just as I work up the will to question her, Eileen speaks up.
Alright, you can move now.
Her weight comes off me as my entire body slumps, a long breath escaping my lips. It feels like my entire body deflates. I get that. Thankful that my duty has been fulfilled, I adjust the towel a little to ensure it doesn't slip off. My first thought is to go where I've carefully placed my clothes, but on the way I'm distracted by the sight of it. I'm left speechless. Dang, that is good. I have to resist the urge to reach out and touch it. This is how Eileen sees me. Not gross nor plain. I feel my heart sting a little as my eyes move across the canvas, seeing through Eileen's eyes how she sees me. As I stand gazing at the painting, I feel a coat come over me, Eileen draping over my shoulders. I'm about to thank her before the words are stolen from my mouth by her different demeanor. Compared to her intense focus while painting, her gaze awkwardly avoids the appreciative expression. All I can do is smile as I clasp the coat tight. The bashful Eileen standing in silence beside me.
It's beautiful.
Dang, she's actually blushing. That's the first time. Holy crap. I've never seen her do that before. And that's the end of a chapter, I believe. Yep. Okay. Let's see. 20 minutes in. Okay, I'm going to go get something at this time. Okay. The streetlights lead us along as we walk along the snow-dusted street, their pinpricks of light piercing the evening's darkness. The two of us walk side by side without a word. The only sound being snow crunching underfoot. Far from the silence, feeling oppressive, but I'm rather glad that we don't need to fill the air with idle conversation. With her classes finished, I offered to repay her for dinner she'd made for me. Hardly one to turn down a free meal. She really readily accepted. It's not like that excuse to bring her over was a lie, as such. Or at least that's what I tell myself. In truth, I want to be closer to Eileen. As I throw a furtive glance at her, I muse about how the times we're together feel different to when I'm with others. Her earnest yet clumsy attempts to help me feeling all the more rewarding. I'm not sure, but I don't think these feelings are just friendship anymore. You're lucky to live so close to school. I still have no idea how you can hike all the way to your place every single day and not be exhausted. That's what happens when you don't limp out of walking. Being fit has its advantages. While I stopped myself from imagining how fit Eileen's body is, I'm reminded that she's seen my own body. I cringe and embarrassed as I remember modeling for her the other day. So it's like the next day or something like that. Trying to shake off the feeling before she notices. Eventually we reached a now familiar apartment building, the two of us stopping a moment. Give me a second, I'm chewing. I'm a little surprised myself at how quickly I came to think of this place as home. An ill-maintained building feeling so foreboding at first. Everything is here is so different. Right down to the streetlights we stand under. Gone were the modern white lights of downtown and the suburbs, replaced by dull orange lamps, which occasionally flicker. Well, here it is. I'm more than a little nervous about what she thinks of this new home after bringing her all the way here. Rather judging me for it, she looks more to be carefully studying it. My nervous attempt to read her stoic gaze getting me nowhere. Looks nice. So what's your roommate like anyway? No sooner do the words leave her mouth than she jumps from my hand, latching tightly onto her shoulder. I didn't even notice her in the darkness. She must have been having a smoke outside when she saw us.
Hey!
Yo. As we sit at the dinner table, Eileen's gaze has trouble staying on us. I know those eyes well. They're those of a tourist, taking in everything around them while desperately trying to engrave it into memory, or perhaps in order to judge my living conditions. I have to admit, place must look a bit shabby compared to her home. She surely worked out that I'm not exactly well off from the area already, though. Compared to Eileen's apartment, ours is full with the artifacts of life. A couple stuffed animals, some movie posters and DVD around the place, an aging console next to the television, and various bits and bobs accumulated through the years that litter the room. Eileen's eyes pass over it all, but she stays unusually subdued. Perhaps the reason isn't the room itself, but the person sitting across from her.
Huh?
So this is where you live, huh? Sorry if it's a bit cold. The heating's having problems. You mean having problems as usual? They're just trying to put up a front. I know it doesn't look great from the outside, but we try to keep the place nice to live in. Fixing leaks, giving the place a lick of paint, patching holes and all that. Gets Allison a crash course in handiwork too. It isn't much, but it's home. That's gotta count for something, right? It does. You've done a good job on making this place homely. Never told me you were this good at science and math, Allison. No wonder it seems so easy for you. She gestures toward the trophy on the side table and certificate on the wall above it, being awards from competitions I won in high school.
Huh?
You never asked.
Allison!
What, seriously? Seriously, Allison? Come on. I earned a playful clip over the head, Eileen snorting in amusement. These two are so similar, come on. She was good enough to get a science scholarship thanks to that brain of hers. Never having been great at knowing how to respond to praise, I just hang my head. It feels a little embarrassing to be complimented in front of Eileen. Makes sense. She's got me out of a jam a few times now. She's a handy person to have around. I feel myself flower into a blush at the words, sinking lower into my chair as my face feels hot. I'm surprised how nice it feels, despite being so awkward. A smile spreads on my face as my legs sway beneath the table with unexpected energy. It feels different when it comes from Eileen.
Thanks.
Thanks for the food, by the way.
Yeah.
It's nothing. Nice to finally meet someone from Allison's side of the fence for a change, actually. I was starting to get worried that she didn't have any friends. I could only bring my hand to my face as Eileen raises an eyebrow and pointed to interest. I do wish Rose wouldn't make such a big deal out of me being shy.
Huh?
Really? Not exactly the outgoing type, I guess. I'm shocked. She takes a large sip of soda before continuing on. There's a few of us in a little circle now, thanks to her dragging me into a club.
Eileen!
You agreed to come. It's Capricious Club anyway.
Huh.
Oh, so now you have nothing to do with it. This is a new story. All I can do is grimace at Eileen as Eileen lifts an eyebrow, getting the rise out of me that she wanted. She softens the blow a little with a small nudge from her shoulder, earning a smile from Rose. Eileen gives a mighty yawn, poorly hidden by the hand over her mouth. I don't think I've seen her mother trying to hide one before. Sorry. Tired? I'm always tired. Yeah, you can't tell those circles beneath her eyes? I have the exact same thing, and it drives me insane. What's with the bags under your eyes anyway? Rough night? Insomnia, it's fun stuff. Again, I can relate. here I was trying to be tactful, and not bringing that up, and Rose just kicks down the door as usual. That does give some context to Eileen's short fuse, though I shouldn't jump to conclusions. Well, they say good, wholesome food can fix that. Hopefully this will put you up a bit. Pick you up a bit. Nothing says homemade like burgers and fries after all. As the two talk, I quietly begin on my food. I hadn't realized how empty I was, the fries disappearing into my mouth at a quick pace. Thank goodness for having a good metabolism. Someone's hungry. I look up quizzically at her, drawing a raised eyebrow. It's only now I realize my cheeks are as full as a chipmunk's. Good to see you two getting along well. Rose takes a hold of my shoulder and gives a playful shake, my head bobbing to and fro as I try to avoid choking on the fry on its way down. Allison's fine, quiet as a mouse, and manages to put up with my crap. Considering how much she takes care of me and takes care of chores and errands, I can't really complain. You mean considering how nice of a person I am, right? That too. The three of us munch away on our food, the quiet sound of cars outside and prattling from the television, providing what little noise there is to be heard. It seems like Eileen is starting to settle, which is a relief. It took me a while myself when I first met Rose. Surprised you two can keep your figures eating like... Wait. Surprised you two can keep your figures eating this kind of stuff. You don't have it often, do you? Rose and I share a quick glance.
No.
No, not at all. Not often, just special events. There we go. Falling afoul of Eileen's judgment. Should just get a rice cooker. Buy rice in bulk. Grab some vegetable packets. Throw them together. Easy, cheap, healthy, healthier than takeout. I have to admit, it was nice when I dated a guy who could cook.
Huh?
Having her around doesn't make sense. Make things awkward. Wait. Having her around doesn't make things too awkward when you bring guys over. Question mark. You learn to be quiet. I guess you would. I frowned at the both of them. I don't want to hear about this. If you didn't know already, that means I've been doing a good job. Rose's comment only causes my frown to deepen. I can feel myself flushing just from the topic of conversation, which just embarrasses me more. Besides, if you ever get a boyfriend, you're going to have to learn if you want to bring him around. I won't be doing anything like that. Rose laughs, and even Eileen looks amused. I sulk, hating that the attention has been centered on me now. I especially don't want this kind of conversation around Eileen. Thankfully, Rose seems content with her teasing. So, what's your story? You're a friend of Allison's, right? Turned out that way. Just another student at the community college, majoring in art. The artsy type, huh? Going for the big bucks then? Thanks. I'm sure you'll find something, hopefully not involving burgers and fries. Eileen's limits are clearly being tested, being less tolerant of being poked at than I. Hopefully Rose realizes it. This is fun. You seem like the artsy type yourself, with all that, what's with all that, the ink? Eileen motions. Oh, this is so fun, bro. Eileen motions to Rose's left side while brandishing a french fry. The tattoo on her upper arm only made more noticeable by her tank top. Looks cool.
Seriously?
Uh-huh. I expected it to be my life story. You expected it to be my life story or something? I mean, it technically is. Your name is Rose, and those are roses on your tattoo. I mean, come on. That was my first.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Hang on, I'm getting a call. Why are you calling me? Oh, I'm recording right now. I didn't get it. I will call you back after this chapter ends. It's only like 10 more minutes now, I think. Alright, see ya. Wait, no, forget what I said. I'm in the Yakuza, and they gave me these as my initiation. Nothing says Yakuza like a biker in middle America. As Rose's chest heaves with a lighthearted laughter, I find myself smiling as well. I'm glad the two get along. Though a little part of me wishes I could be like Eileen. It took me months to warm up to Rose. Yet Eileen gets on with her so smoothly. Standing out in front of the apartment building once more, we say our goodbyes, for real this time. Even if she pointedly refused Rose's later offer of transport, at least she'll be going home on a full stomach. It's not as atmosphere. It's time to say our goodbyes, especially given the night's chill having set in. But neither of us quite want to say the words.
When you said you had a roommate, that's the last kind of person I expected you to be shacked up with.
Rose is nice. Once you get to know her. She's a family friend. So I guess you could say I got this apartment through connections.
Eileen's not really wrong, though. Ever since starting at community college, I've gone from having a couple of very alike friends at high school to an increasing that word of odd characters. The way Eileen looks as she gazes at the building catches me off guard. It's hardly the comfortable existence she seems to have. Rose and I pretty much eking out a living with what scraps we get. Yet she looks so wistful.
You really have a nice thing going, don't you?
Yeah, I guess so. If you ever want to visit again, you're definitely welcome.
She gives an amused snore and a smile.
I'll have to take you up on that sometime.
Moments tick by as the two of us stand out on the sidewalk, neither quite knowing what to say next. I want her to stay around some more to talk to. Wait, I want her to stay. But I know it's already getting late. Idly thinking over our dinner together for something to talk with her about, one particular part of the conversation keeps sticking out, replaying it in my head. I can feel my face going red before I can cover it up with my hands. What, is it about the part with you having a boyfriend? Or you needing to get a boyfriend?
What's wrong?
I can't believe Rose was talking about that kind of stuff, even though you just met her. Sorry about that.
What?
That's alright. I'm the one who brought it up.
I can't remember. I don't remember what this is about.
That's right. You're just as bad.
I give her a shoulder, a firm tap, immediately feeling conscious of the gesture. I pull away from her and look elsewhere, fuming away in my embarrassment. Eileen rocks back and forth between her heels and the ball of her feet to pass the time while I recover her hands, not quite knowing what to do. Eventually, thankfully, Eileen breaks the silence between us.
Thanks for inviting me here. I'm glad to have been over tonight.
Why?
To be honest, I had you pegged as some spoiled little delicate flower when I first met you. You know, the kind who coasts along on their parents' attention before the real world punches them in the face. It looks like you have your life pretty sorted, though. You've got a good head on your shoulders, friends, and a cool roommate. You've managed to scratch together a pretty decent life for yourself.
She just gives a long breath, rocking back and forth on her feet as she tries to put some words together. I want to thank her for the kind words, but I'm left speechless. After such a warm-hearted appraisal of my current world.
I don't really know what to say now. I guess I feel a bit dumb for lecturing you so much.
It's fine, really.
My frantic brushing off of the idea puts the both of us back on us on the back foot. Smiling with that wonderful rare smile of hers, she seems to accept the situation. Before I can say anything more, the blonde girl turns to begin a long walk back home. Without looking back, Eileen simply raises her hand, and into the air she strolls off down the road. She's as confident as ever. Things just happened around me, and I worked problems out as they occurred. Is that really worth respect? It feels strange to have someone I admired turn that right back on me. I feel my heartstring as her figure gets smaller into a dark night sky, but there's nothing I can do. I can say or do, just watch her go. Hey! Yes, I love this image! It's the, this was at the beginning of the game, and now it's here. That's great. I like that. The cold night's breeze wafts past the balcony, my thin jacket doing little to stop it. The only noise to be heard is the odd car rushing down the street through the darkness, or snippets of muffled music from neighboring apartments. Moments like this are nice, circumstances aside. Just being able to be alone with my thoughts without the distraction of others. That said, I already have my answer to what had been on my mind. That was the real point of this dinner, after all. When I modeled for her, I wanted to be a part of something that was important to Eileen, even before then. I wonder if the times I tried to get closer weren't out of friendship alone. What I felt as I watched Eileen walk away was the confirmation of my feelings I needed. Okay, I'm pretty sure I've seen the art for the next moment. It's gonna be like Rose comes out onto the balcony or something, I bet. Maybe that was this one. No, I think that was in a day, wasn't it? Huh. Well, I haven't seen the art yet, so... A dark figure suddenly appears. Oh, okay, so it is this. Taking no heed of my surprise as it leans against the balcony beside me. As I compose myself once more of a familiar smell passing my nose. My nose tips me off before my eyes do.
Don't scare me like that!
Yeah, it's this one.
Hey, I called out. Not my fault you were daydreaming.
Her mention of it brings all my worries flooding right back, hardly wanting to look at Rose while thinking about all this. I turn back and try to ignore her as best I can. Rose mentioned how I should think about finding a partner sometime while in college. My parents too, and even my high school friends before I came. I was content to focus on school and keep such complications out of my mind until my life was all set up and ready. College has already set me right on that account. Life doesn't go on hold until you're ready to face it. Rose simply blows off a smoke. Blows a puff of smoke, a thin stream passing her lips and disappearing into the night sky. I try to keep my mouth shut, but the smoke proves too much for me as I bring my hand to my face.
That's terrible.
You're the one who banishes me here, remember?
I hate to admit it, but she does have a point. Rose stubbornly makes a point of taking a puff of her cigarette, but soon notices that something is amiss.
Come on, out with it. What's on your mind?
It'd be easy enough to wave her off. One of the things I like about Rose is that she knows when to step back, and this is the kind of thing plenty of people keep private. But somehow, even if I haven't told Eileen how I felt, I kind of want someone else to know.
I think I like someone.
I watch her reaction with the best attempt I can muster at a casual interest. I'm surprised by how unsurprised Rose is. After a tortuously long time, she finishes her puff of the cigarette and takes it from her mouth.
You had the look of someone with that on the mind. It's that Eileen girl, right?
Yeah, of course you already know. Yeah, this is the artwork I saw. Okay. Yeah, it's my mind blanks. She picked that up herself. She isn't taken off by guard by my liking of a girl at all. The knot of anxiety I hadn't even noticed forming inside me suddenly twists and turns. The expected spluttering explanation suddenly not needed. I psyched myself up so much, only for it to go nowhere. The silence between us continues as Rose patiently waits for me to respond. It's just what's supposed to come after saying that.
I didn't think you knew about Eileen or, you know.
Well, I mean, kinda hard to ignore what's in front of your face, you know. Seeing you two together, it all clicked.
You don't think I'm weird?
Apparently feeling a little more sure of what to say, she gives a disarming smile.
Believe me, I'm not in any position to call someone weird.
Yeah.
Hey, that's not what you're supposed to say.
No, that's pretty accurate. She elbows me in response to my mostly unintentional bite back. With the situation diffused, I managed to calm down a little. Just saying I like her makes my thoughts feel all the more real. My heart skipping a beat as I repeat the words in my mind. Rose thinks to herself a little before snuffing out her cigarette on the ashtray and looking at me squarely.
Sorry. I shouldn't be so flippant when you're all worked up. I get that coming out can be hard. For what it's worth, I really appreciate that you trust me so much.
The warm smile on her face proves infectious, all tension from the air fading away. I hardly mind now that I have managed to unwind a little. I get the feeling she's stumbling through this herself. Minutes go by only the passing cars beneath us for noise. Both of us savoring the peacefulness of winter's night. At loose ends, I lean against the balcony railing and finally break the silence. That is a nice artwork. Come on, bro. The people who created this are so talented. What the heck?
What should I do?
I don't think that's something I can decide for you. Just remember that you're still young.
So you don't think it'll work out?
I'm not saying that. Just take it easy, alright? Relationships are a pain in the ass.
This isn't what I'd hoped for. Hoped Rose would say at all. That doesn't mean she's wrong.
I thought love was supposed to feel all happy and warm. But I feel more nervous than anything else.
Welcome to relationships. Falling for someone is easy. It's what comes next that's hard.
Her disarming smile at least puts me a little more at ease. That's a smile? I mean, I don't know. I'm glad I have Rose here for me. In many ways, I feel like we can't relate to each other, but we can still have this kind of conversation and understand each other. We're just two girls talking about love.
You're a good girl, Allison. I promise that whatever happens, you can call on me. Okay?
Thanks.
But, you know, if things do work out, you're still gonna have to learn how to be quiet for my sake if you bring her around.
Rose!
Alright. Gonna end that there. Okay. That was good. This is a good episode. Had a lot of stuff. But I have to go now, so I'm just gonna end it right away. See you in the next one.